Now we'll see how the animal kingdom we consider. That is introduction to the animal kingdom. Last time I said animal kingdom, the animals evolved from a kind of a organism similar to flagellated protista. So before going into these animals, I will just show this, like previous day I told about choanoflagellates, related protist, though that is the origin of the animals. Choanoflagellated individuals are having somewhat like this type of body, cell body with a flagella, arranged like a colony. So there are different varieties of protists in this world. Some of the protista now here in this category, all these protists. And from here, only the animals originate. And these protists, some are having like irregular shape of bodies with a nucleus where they can move using their cytoplasmic changes. We call pseudopodia. And they include amoeba or different varieties of amoeba. Likewise, some protists are there. Their bodies are somewhat like the single cell and they move using kind of tiny thread-like structures called cilia. We call ciliated protists. These are amoebic protists. These are ciliated protists. Some of the protists are there. They unable to move. But they produce again an individual which able to penetrate or approach or move into another cell with the help of anteriorly structured complex of organelles. Anteriorly structured complex of organelles do have these protists. Therefore, they can able to enter into some other animal's body or animal cell. We call this structure as apical complex. So those individuals having apical complex, protists having apical complex, we consider as apicomplexa. For example, malaria parasite and some of other parasites, they are always invade or enter into some other cells for the nourishment, epicomplex. But there is a fourth category of protists. They have their single cell body, but they move with the flagella. There are different types of flagellated individuals in this world. Some are parasites, some are free living, some are autotrophic, some are heterotrophic likewise. And this flagellated protist we call kinetoplasta. Organisms, kinetoplasta of the protista. This kinetoplasta type of protist, some instead of individuals like having this type of flagella, several number of cells retain together to form a colony-like individual, colony-like. So that is what we said as choanoflagellated individuals or choanoflagellated protists, from which the animals expected to originate in the animal kingdom or in the earth. So if we take first the introduction to the animal kingdom, here you can see these animals do have kind of cells in their body. Animals do have kind of cells in their body, this type, having a single cell with a nucleus and a flagella. And they arrange in a line, interior line like this. So that shows the very primitive type of animals of the animal kingdom originated from what we said, choanoflagellated individuals or choanoflagellated protist. Okay. Again, At the very beginning, we said origin of animals took place in the water. In the water, also in the ocean, in millions of years back. And for us to consider they are animals, here you can see the protist individuals, they all have single cell, but here it is a link. These single cells accumulate together. That is the transition to an animal where animals we consider they are multicellular. Animals we consider are multicellular, having several cells, large number of cells. Also, they are heterotrophic individual, heterotrophic, obtain nourishment from outside. And there are heterotrophs in the protist as well. And at the very beginning, or until very recently, we considered those protists, what we considered here, amoebae, ciliated type, epicomplexa, and the Kinetoplasta, we considered those individuals also animals at the very beginning, since they are heterotrophic individuals. But it is not. It is not. They considered now under different kingdom as protista. So if you look, so many textbooks now printed prior to 2000, they have considered protista also under animal kingdom, but protista is a different kingdom and the animal kingdom is different. And the animals are diverse, multicellular, heterotrophs. Therefore, first most primitive multicellular individuals are the animals. Multicellular, most primitive ones are the animals of the first phylum we are going to consider next week. And these animals, they are diverse. They are diverse. There are a large amount of animals. Majority of the animals, about 96%, they are invertebrates. Invertebrates means they do not have a vertebral column or a backbone, like sea anemones, earthworms, centipedes, planaria, sea gooseberries, whelk, sea urchins, flies, crab spiders, crayfish or crustaceans. Likewise, so many animals, they have no backbone, no vertebral column. And rest of the 4% of individuals, only have a backbone, like chordates, phylum Chordata, but the phylum Chordata include several number of classes under subphylum Vertebrata. That is fishes, amphibians, birds, reptiles, and humans. And you can see the humans is the most advanced in the animal kingdom. Even they can show their facial expressions as well. Facial expressions. Very funny looking, crazy, smiling, anger, thinking, likewise variations. So the majority, and if we take the diversity, therefore invertebrate diversity is the vast compared to the diversity of vertebrates. So if we consider now what is an animal, therefore we can consider that they are the multicellular, eukaryotic, heterotrophic individuals whose cell lack cell walls, who do not have cell walls. They are multicellular, eukaryotic, because eukaryota is the domain. Heterotrophic, obtain food from out, and they don't have a cell wall. So that is the basic definition for an animal. And for animals to be explained, these animals do have different type of tissues. Different type of tissues like epithelial tissues, connective tissues, smooth tissues, nervous tissues, likewise different in different parts of their body. In the arms, different types, heart, different type of muscles or tissues, digestive tract, different type of tissues, nervous system, different type, epithelial tissues. Likewise, depending on the place of the body, they have different tissue cells. And also these animals, they do several things for their survival. Some of those things are essential functions, essentially necessary, like feeding, since they are heterotrophic. They do respirate, obtain oxygen, expel carbon dioxide. And the circulation. Many advanced animals, food transportation take place with circulation as well as respiration, oxygen transportation by circulation. And also unnecessary metabolic waste they expel from the body, we call excretion. And also animals, they respond to an object. That is also some specific, and they do for their survival. And also they are able to move from place to place, either to escape from predators, in search of food, and for sheltering. Likewise, they move from place to place. And also important, they reproduce to maintain their progeny, reproduction. They do for survival. And also for the survival, they feed, and the feeding, some of these animals, they feed on plants, we call herbivorous. Some they feed on animals, carnivorous. Some they feed both plants and animals, they are omnivorous. And some of the animals, they feed on decaying plant material and animals, whether it is in aquatic or terrestrial. Aquatic in the sense water, terrestrial in the sense land. We call detritivores. So you will come across all these type of animals when you are going to learn different individual phyla of the animal kingdom. And also some of the animals, they are filter feeders. But the filter feeding is not a very advanced type, it is very primitive type. Filter feeding is exclusively done by aquatic animals. Aquatic animals, for filtering their food from other organisms, since those animals who do for filtering are unable to move. Most of the animals, those who do filter feeding are unable to move. Unable to move. We call it as sessile. Many sessile individuals do feed by filter feeding. Respiration, excretion, those details not necessary, response, movement, different things, reproduction, and the complex animals, in the animal evolution, complex animals, they have cell specification or specialization, high level of cell specialization, especially in internal organs, since very primitive animals do not have internal organs, but when the animals become more advanced, you find internal organs with cell specialization. Cell specialization means individual type of cells do some kind of thing, and some of the cells do another kind of thing. Likewise, they specialize, different cells doing different functions. And also when the animal become more advanced, they show bilateral symmetry, like here, bilateral symmetry. But in the primitive individuals like sea anemones, they show radial symmetry. And also when the animals advanced in higher phyla, able to differentiate anterior and the posterior regions. Anterior and the posterior, where anterior considers as the head end, where the head we call cephalization, head end. formation of the head, cephalization, and the posterior tail end. And the head end usually concentrate with sense organs. In advanced animals, sense organs usually concentrate only in the head area, whereas in primitive animals, sensory cells spread all over the body. And also they form a body cavity in most advanced animals. Body cavity is a secondary formation of the embryonic development. That is by splitting the mesodermal layer of the embryonic development.